So this past weekend, we went to a friend from college house to have a good time. Bring the girls to the pool and have dinner with everybody. Most of us have wives and kids all around the same age, right? I think the youngest is maybe 14 months,
Yeah, like one.
and then the oldest is probably Ava, which is ours,
Yeah.
and then Aria fits in there somewhere. All girls, by the way. And one of my friends who is in a long term relationship, not married, and doesn't have any kids. And I was sitting on the couch and he was like, "Man, I was thinking about it the other day." And I was like, Me and my girl, we're constantly like
On
running
the
around
move.
town. We're both working full time. We're running errands and we're just super busy. And I can't imagine how you guys do the same thing, but also have kids and work that into your daily life. And I was like, brother, it's not easy.
It's not.
And it's not something you won't know until you actually experience it. But I was like, look, what we do to help our lives is we have some like systems and processes in
Yeah.
place, amongst other things, to help our lives go a little bit smoother and our relationship, run a lot smoother. And I thought that would be a good topic for today is talk about, some of the systems that we put in place and some of the things that life hacks that we've kind of uncovered over the last 5 years of marriage. We're going on 6 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going on 6 years in December. So we didn't have it all figured out at the beginning. We probably still don't have it figured out.
Yeah, we definitely have to have system in place. And actually, we've developed them as we've gone because when it's one kid, it's a different system than when it's two kids.
Yeah.
So things change. I think the number one thing is like communication.
I think part of the communication is the shared calendar that we have on
Yeah.
Google, where I put all the things I have going on, even if it's like guys' night and I'm having poker night, especially anything with the kids, right? So, Ava's jujitsu, ballet, dance, swim class, all that goes on a shared calendar that we both have access to. That's great because instead of me asking you for the thousandth time, hey, what do we have this weekend? I could just simply, go on that and just look it up.
I mean, you still
I
ask
do still ask.
a
I
lot.
knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and I think this is maybe something we can get better at, right? We don't just have one calendar. I have one of those calendars that goes on the fridge that you can kind of like, it's like dry erase, so you can erase and you can like redo every month. So I put a lot of the big important things on there. But then I'm super old school, so I know we have calendars on our phone. I don't like to use them. I write everything down. I have an agenda. Things are color coordinated. It like helps me keep focused and be extremely organized. And I mean, the truth is, between us two, like I think the more I wouldn't say just a more organized person, but I would say the one that kind of steers the ship when it comes to the kids' calendar and the kids' schedule and our family trips and all that stuff is me. So
100%.
I have to have a couple of calendars going on at the same time. So maybe we could get better at just kind of streaming down to just not one, because I'm always going to have a personal calendar, but maybe like, sticking to the fridge calendar and the shared one that we have on
Yeah,
Google.
for me, because I never look at the calendar on
On
the
the fridge.
fridge. I never look at that one. I always look at the one on the phone, just because that's easy. I'm like, okay, I know what's coming up. The address is there. I prefer that 1,000%. But it's super helpful, and I know I do still ask you, even though it's on the
Every time.
calendar. Yeah, sometimes I'm just confirming.
Yeah. Well, not just that. I feel like I am his human calendar. I think that's part of my duty as a wife.
Babe, what
Because
do we have this weekend?
yeah, literally. And that's every Monday. Hey, what's going on this weekend? Or probably Sunday, so that he can mentally prepare about who we're gonna go see or what we're gonna go do.
No, that's absolutely essential. One thing that I think is probably the most important, especially once you get married, but one that we didn't pretty much implement until
Recently.
recently, is the one bank account.
Yeah.
And I know this could be controversial for some, but at least for us, or at least when I talk to some friends, the way most people have their financial situation set up is one spouse has their own personal checking account, the other one has their own personal checking account. Then they both have a shared checking account where they both kind of contribute whatever they can or a set amount, and they pay certain bills out of that. And then, one spouse pays their own cell phone bill and their own student loans, and the other one pays their own this. And that's honestly how we ran it for
In the
the
beginning.
beginning of our marriage. until at one point you were like, hey, this separate account stuff, it's not going to work anymore.
Yeah. And I don't think it's that it wasn't going to work anymore. I think that as a woman, I felt like I think I had a thought that crossed my mind. And I said, oh my God, if tomorrow I lose my job, am I going to have to ask my husband for money to do my nails? In my mind, and like in my, like I started to feel that way. And I was like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Like, why? And I work, and I contribute a lot. So I was like, it's not because I want to like spend his money or because his money is my money anyway, but it's more than anything like we're married. So we're one. We talk about investing in different things. Like, how could we even possibly do the right math about how much money we have left over to invest if we don't have insight into our accounts?
Yeah, and I'll tell you from a man's perspective, at least from my perspective, it's always, well, if she knows, how much we have or if there's a surplus, then she's going to want to spend it all on shopping. I mean, that's just, I know it's immature to think that way,
Yeah.
but that was my fear was like, if you see an extra surplus or a certain amount just sitting somewhere, your instinct is going to be to spend it. And what I've come to realize is that's not the case, right?
No.
We both have full visibility on how we're doing as a couple or as a unit, then it's easier to make decisions on vacations, on investments, on where we're going to send the kids to school. We have a real clear snapshot of what's going on with our finances. And another question that I thought of was, well, how we're going to buy gifts for each other. And it's silly, right? Because it's the same. It's a quick
Yeah.
fix. You charge it on your credit card, and then you pay the credit card from the joint account or from the one account, and that's it. No, you don't know. I mean, a charge or a payment has been made, but it is what it is.
Yeah, at least you don't really know exactly what he bought or what she bought. But I do have a friend that mentions, because we were talking about this amongst us, and they're like, well, what happens if one person makes more money than the other? What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I think that's naturally going to happen. I think it's going to be very rare where both couples make equal amount of money. If one makes more than the other and you're married, it should all still go into the same pot, right? Because you're building one vision, one unit. And if one spouse makes less, that doesn't mean that their role is less in the household.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. I mean, obviously, I kind of answered something similar, but I feel like a lot of people like question that, like, what if I make more money than my spouse, and then the person feels like, they can spend more now because they see that there's more money in the account, which is
Yeah.
kind of like what you had thought in your mind.
Yeah,
probably.
it goes back to a little bit of immaturity in the relationship initially, because I thought like that. I thought you're gonna go on a spending spree. I don't know. It came from a place of fear, and now that we have the one bank account, I actually feel a little bit more free and liberated because it's like exactly what we can afford and what we can't afford. I don't have to
Explain.
explain like, well, this. I mean, I still have to explain sometimes because you sometimes want to pull the trigger, for all kinds of things. But at least we have clear insight on how. And sometimes you tell me, hey, let's pump the brakes this week.
Yeah, yeah, because here's the thing. I think that your fear came from who I was before having kids, right? Versus who I am now. And I don't know about you ladies, but I like to see my money where it belongs, which is in my checking account. I don't want to see it anywhere else. I don't want to see it in my closet. I don't want to see it anywhere. Do I spend? I do, but I like to think that like not like I did before, because
Yeah.
just I don't know, my goals are a little bit different than they were.
Yeah, and another concern that if you're listening or watching is probably like, well, how am I going to buy things for myself without the other person getting pissed off? And I don't think we really had that issue since we
No.
started. If I want to buy something that I want, I just buy it. I'm buying electronics and things like that all the time. You're buying a lot of kids stuff,
It's for our
outfits,
kids.
bikinis all the time, and whatever. If it's reasonable, I don't question it. So, I personally think that that's one of the most important ones is the one bank account. And if you're not on that system, I highly encourage you to do so. Now, if you're with somebody who's a degenerate gambler or a complete lunatic with their finances, then that's a separate conversation to have.
Yeah,
But if
absolutely.
you're just the average person or average couple, you should definitely consider that.
And I feel a lot safer too, because it almost feels like, you know, I don't have a different picture in my mind of what we can afford versus what we can actually afford, because I could see all the income coming in and now I know exactly, what we're working with.
Yeah, yeah, and then the same thing with the savings, right? If we have a savings for investments, we have a saving for the kids' school fund. What we should do is actually create a savings just for like fun, a fun bucket, but because we just use our regular account for
The
that.
fun bucket is the main account.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. But speaking of buying gifts and things, I think one of the things that I did that was actually genius, and
It was.
I did this a long time ago when
I think we were still dating.
we were still dating. We were still dating. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a great gift giver, right? Like I like to go over the top in buying gifts. I usually don't need much
Direction.
direction. I'll just go for what I think you would like and what would be cool. And I'm talking about the material things, right? Not necessarily those heartwarming gifts. I'm talking about just a real fun, cool gifts. So I'm a beast at that. Not that you're not that, but you definitely need more guidance, right? So when we were dating, I derived a gift list, right? And it's a simply a Google spreadsheet, and it has the item, the price, and the link on where to get it. And then like a little note box if you want to say what color or whatever it is. And then it's a shared Google sheet. So I have my list, she has her list. Every time it's a holiday or you want to get them, and I put things from all price points, from a couple bucks all the way to the thousands of dollars. You want to get a little generous, that's there. So you have a tab, I have a tab, and it worked amazing. I mean, it still works amazing.
Yeah.
The issue initially is to get the other person to fill it up, because
Yeah.
it takes time to figure out what exactly it is that that you want. But once you guys get past that, I mean, it's to me, it's a game changer.
I think this really applies to people who've been together for a while, because in the beginning of your relationship, there's a ton of things you can buy for your spouse.
Yeah,
your
but
partner.
we bought a lot for each other in the beginning, and that's why I had to come up with it,
Yeah,
because I
that's
started
what-
running out of ideas.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily that I need guidance. It's just we were like big on gifting each other like great things.
Big gifts.
So it got to the point like on I want to say like year 3 or almost 4, that we were like, okay, like let's talk about what we each want for Christmas or birthdays, because we're having a hard time to try to look for something,
And you don't have to deal with, I don't want anything or whatever. And look, the truth is, most of the time we don't really need anything, but you want something.
Yeah.
And if you have that list, you don't have to necessarily ask them. You just go to the list. And as the list, as you buy things, I don't even remove them. I just cross them out so you remember that you got them that stuff.
Yeah.
So you don't rebuy it in the future. But I do think, I mean, I know it helps you out, because almost every single gift that we've had recently is from the gift list.
But there's just some things you put on there that, like, and I actually did buy you a gun, but like,
Yeah, you
he'll
did.
put like a gun or knives, and I'm just like, I get it, you're a man's man, such a boy, but I don't want to go buy you a knife. Like,
Definitely did buy me
are
a
you gonna
gun.
kill me with it?
Yeah, no, yes, I put all kinds of things on there.
So crazy.
I put, like I said, something as small as a cool pen, all the way to firearms and safes and
yeah, like these
watches
huge safes, and I'm like, great, that safe looks amazing. Someone better deliver it, because I can't even
Yeah.
carry that thing.
yeah. Now, I do say that even if you have the gift list, it shouldn't be the only thing you get your spouse. You should still add those, heartfelt gifts that come from, really knowing the person. So, and we do that as well. So I
Yeah.
think this is just a great thing to put in for those, those material things.
And again, this is more for people who are gift givers
Yeah,
and
that's true.
receivers, because there's other couples that are like, nah, we just go buy it.
Yeah.
They don't really care about the act of gifting.
What do you
So,
mean?
Yeah, like there's some couples that are like, no, this is what I wanted for my birthday, so we went to go buy it at the store.
Oh, I got
Like
you.
they
yeah.
don't have to like
Yeah,
go by
'cause-
themselves and wrap it,
Yeah, because we're big on Christmas, opening
Yeah.
gifts and birthdays and all
Yeah,
those
all those-
holidays in between.
The other thing I think that we do a really good job with is ignoring the noise. And the reason why I say ignore the noise is because everyone always has an opinion about everything. Whether that be friends or family, they'll say things like, well, how come he's not taking them to the extracurricular activity? Or how come she doesn't pick up the kids, from her mom's house? So we've established what works for us, what works for our schedules, which are ever changing. So I think a good tip is to ignore what other people, like the questions other people ask. Because I do know that sometimes, they'll ask, but the way that they ask is more like judgy a little bit. And then it makes you think like, well, yeah, why doesn't he? And I know the answer. He doesn't go pick up the kids or take them to, because he's in the middle of a meeting, and I know what kind of meeting that is, you know? So we've established a system that
Yeah.
works for us. And anyone's like input or questions is just noise.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, ignore the noise, establish your roles and responsibilities, and then create those boundaries
Yeah.
so that you know what you guys are doing as a unit is already talked through and it's the most efficient thing forward. For example, I know that every single day I'm taking the kids, I'm dropping them off at your mother's house. Some days, it'd be great for you to do it, but in my mind, it's like, you know what? It's my responsibility. That's my role. If I mess that up, then I'm going to throw your day off and vice versa. So I think the fact that we have established roles,
Yeah.
and we bend if we absolutely have to, but for the most part, we stick to it. Like it's
Yeah,
like,
because we know how much time we're giving up, right? So, yeah, you take the kids every day in the morning, but I take the kids every day for an extracurricular activity. So if I had to take the responsibility of the morning, it'll eat up my day. It'll eat up taking them, and then it'll eat up, going to the extracurricular activity. So that's how we
yeah,
divide and conquer,
yeah,
really.
yeah. So yeah, we establish the roles, we establish responsibilities, and we don't really let other people influence on how we should do things. Because you're right, there are people who always give their 2 cents
Yeah.
in how we should do it. But I think once you find a system that works for you, draw that boundary and don't let anybody, interrupt that.
Yeah. And when you said establish responsibilities, you know what I thought about, which is such a silent responsibility that we have? Every time we take a vacation, we obviously know I'm gonna pack for the kids because
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
dress them cuter.
Yeah. No,
So
facts.
we know I'm gonna pack for the kids, but I don't ever worry about packing a charger, packing the kids' iPads, making sure that they're completely
Yeah, any electronics,
charged.
any electronics, yeah.
I don't worry about the bottles or the milk because I know that he's got a system. So I know I get in the car and all I think about is, did I get the right bow to
Yeah.
match the outfit? Because I know my phone's gonna be charged.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You have I don't think about a bow, I don't think about a bracelet, I don't think about a bathing suit. You deal with all that. We don't even have to decide that. That's a fact. You take care of that.
Yeah.
Anything that has to do with electronics, even your Apple Watch,
Even all other types of chargers, like the fans, because we
yeah.
have fans for the
All
strollers,
electronics.
and they have like different
Yeah.
what's that called?
A charger?
Yeah, no, the different. Every charger has like a different thing.
USB?
Yeah, the different USBs. He has all of them
Yeah,
packed.
I
I know
have a
for a
little
fact
book.
we'd be good.
Yeah, I have a little book with every single USB, USB C, A, the other micro USB. I have them all. Yeah, literally any electronic that you can think of, I have that charged up. Even in the house, right? Like
Yeah.
we have our responsibilities at night. You're always showering the kids. I'll come and help once you're done, and I think that keeps us sane too.
Yeah.
It
No,
protects the peace.
it definitely does, and it also like establishes like what your clear responsibilities are and how you're gonna get them done, and you get to think about like, okay, I'm gonna have time to do X, Y, and Z, which is why I'm so glad that when we put the kids to bed, we started sharing that too. I do one day, you do the next day. When it
Yeah,
comes to like reading
and
them a
we didn't
book,
even set that up. That kind of just came automatic. Like you would.
I totally set that up.
Oh, you set it up.
I did.
Okay. I thought we
So
were
the first
just killing
night,
it.
no, we were not. We're getting there. The first night that I read them a book and like I convinced them that they're gonna be alive the next day because they were losing their minds. And we said prayer. I said, "Oh my God, this took an hour and 20 minutes. I'm exhausted." I'm like, I can't do this every night on top of the showers. So I said, all right, we definitely have to like flip this
Yeah, we
around.
alternate until last night. You were like, "Hey, should the kids just sleep in our bed?"
I was so
I was
exhausted.
like, "Yeah, how about we do that tomorrow
When it's his
when it's
turn.
my turn?" Trying to be slick. Yeah, they can sleep in our
I
bed
didn't
tomorrow.
even think about that. I was just in that
I thought
moment.
about
I
it
was so tired because the night before we had a rough night with them waking up. So
every
I was
night.
so tired. I was like, I just want to sleep. Like they sleep with us.
I want to sleep tonight.
And I'm the
So
first one saying like they're not sleeping with us. I don't care. They're going to their bed, but I was exhausted.
yeah, we did have a rough night, and it was.
Yeah.
I
Told ya.
think because of this thing. I saw I only had like 3 hours of sleep total the entire
What
night.
is that thing?
It's a Whoop.
Always has a new electronic.
I love electronics.
Always.
Here's another one that I think is a really, again, it sounds really simple and like a no brainer, but having clear goals. It's saying, okay, we're gonna buy a house by XYZ date, put our kids in this kind of school, and we got on the same page, and we literally mapped out all of our goals for like at least the next whatever when she was born, what, 4 or 5 years out.
Yeah.
Even with the house that we're in now, we said, okay, we're gonna be in here for about 5 years, which we're gonna be coming up on that next year.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna get, either a bigger house or into a different neighborhood. So having the clear goals and being on the same page and having that as like the North Star is extremely helpful because we know what we're working towards. We know what the point of all of this is. And I think we've done a good job at establishing, those goals.
Yeah. I think that people should have goals together, but also separately. And the reason why I say that is because there's always, in a relationship, there's always a pusher, right? There's always somebody who like pushes you when you're like in the midst of fear or like you're a little bit scared. And I mentioned that, babe, because remember right before we moved in here, we were kind of like undecided, like, do we move? Do we not move? And we had a goal, we were going to move. We didn't have an exact like month or date, but we knew it was that year. And it was the beginning of the year. So technically we still had like, a good 10 more months to go. And in my mind, I was like, my goal is that we're in the house by the time I have this baby. And I remember, still being in that place of like, are we going to do it? Are we not going to do it? And I turned to my husband and I said, we're getting that house this month.
Yeah. Yeah. When it came to the house, I don't even think we were pre-approved yet. We just saw the house come up. We called the realtor and we started talking about the type of house we want. And as we were talking to the realtor on the phone, I found the house that we're in now.
And it was at an open house.
It was during an open house, and it was like maybe 1 o'clock when you were talking to the realtor.
Yeah.
And the open house was until 3 p.m. And I was like, oh, look at this house. You sent it to the realtor. And she was like, yeah, that's going to be gone by the time you get there. She's like, no, we're going to go there now. And I was like, it's 1 o'clock. Like, we have to get ready.
I was like, I don't care.
She's like, nope, let's get in the car. And sure enough, we got our ass over here, came to the open house, saw it, loved it, put an offer in, and got the offer accepted.
Well, let me back up. We were one of 12 offers.
Yeah, that's right.
One of 12. So even when somebody tells you who's a professional, who has experience in something, tells you, yeah, I don't think that can be done. Listen, when you have a goal in mind.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. The other time that happened was when we were engaged. When we were engaged, we started talking about, wedding budgets but we weren't fully there yet. And we would go to all these different venues and they'll start just rifling off the prices. Like, well, the venue is $28,000. The catering's this, that.
And it doesn't include chairs.
And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like doing simple math. I'm like, and she's like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And I'm like, where in the world are we going to come up with this? And I remember the spot that we ended up getting married at. You found it. You found all this. I mean, we went together.
Yeah.
And even then, I was like, man, this seems like it's going to be kind of crazy. And you're like, nope, we'll pick this date and we'll figure it out. And sure enough,
we
figured it
out. Because nothing beats you having that specific goal in mind and going after it. I remember we looked at each other when we left and we're like, after that simple math you did, I did total girl math, by the way. I was like, I don't care. It's so beautiful. This is it. But we laughed and you were like, how are we going to do this? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to do it.
Yeah, no, legit. I had in my mind, I was like, yeah, this is fairy tale.
But was our wedding phenomenal?
Our wedding was phenomenal.
Give me a high five.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was beautiful. And look, you do this a lot, right? When you said, I want to have a snow vacation with the kids. And immediately I'm like, no, like all the luggage, strollers with a 3 and 1 year old at the time.
Yeah.
This is going to be, we're going to have to rent the biggest SUV that they have. And we ended up doing it.
Yeah.
We went to Lake Tahoe.
I was like, oh, you're going to have to rent the biggest SUV. Look it up.
Yeah. When there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. 100%.
Traditions. Family traditions, holiday traditions. I think that's something that was unspoken at some point, and we've kind of established them now more solid. But because of the traditions that we've created for our family, we know exactly what we're doing on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. We know that we're traveling, we're taking a family vacation in the winter. We know we're doing one at the beginning of the summer. And I think having those traditions, it kind of frames your year for you, and you just plug and play what you're going to actually do. And that's been super helpful.
Yeah, there's even little things I do. Maybe you don't even notice them, but for example, the night before Christmas, we all have matching pajamas on because we know that the next day we're gonna wake up, open up presents, and he's gonna bring out his camera and we're gonna film this so that the kids can have memories. So I always like to make sure that we're coordinated. The kids are usually matching. He's difficult to shop for, very
That's why
difficult
the
to shop
gift
for.
list.
So most of the time what I do is coordinate colors, right? I'll tell him, okay, we're gonna do, red pants with a white shirt or whatever it is so that he could get whatever comfortable, perfect pajamas he finds.
So here's the thing, quick side note. The problem with regular pajama pants is that they're
They're huge.
They're huge. I could fit my whole body in one leg. So you buy me these pajama pants that they just look ridiculous. And who doesn't make, properly fitting pajamas?
Well, I think I found a company. So this year,
Really?
yeah, this year I'm gonna run it by you so that you can take a look at it to see if you like because
Sounds
they
expensive.
do they do have like family matching pajamas. The quality's great. So we'll see how that works out. If we end up doing it, I'll tell you guys what company that is. But yeah, matching pajamas is something that we do. If we stay here for Christmas, like if we don't go anywhere, which lately we've stayed here. Maybe this year we won't. But if we stay here for Christmas, we usually host.
Yeah, we usually host Christmas. We usually host Thanksgiving.
Also, well, we host the 24th, which is Noche Buena for us. But then on Christmas morning, we host a breakfast every single year, even before kids.
Yeah, and that goes, again, it's without being said. Everybody just knows that our
you
house
just know you got to show up.
is breakfast on Christmas
Day.
Day. New Year's, we know that New Year's, we typically spend that either with friends
Or at a restaurant.
Or at a restaurant.
Which this year I want to take a trip. Because I feel like New Year's, there's some New Year's that we've actually stayed in, right? Because, you don't want to drive late with, drunk drivers, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. I want to do something different. I think this year we might switch up that tradition.
In the fall, whenever it's, October, November-ish, we always go to the farms with the kids.
I
we
love
do
that so
we do the
much.
pumpkin patch. I think we've done it every single year since Ava's been born, right?
Actually, longer.
Yes, since even before.
When the triplets, I have triplet nieces. When the triplets were little, we would take them. And then when we had our babies, we took them every year and we still do.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then for Ava's birthday, which is the oldest, we typically travel on that one.
Yeah.
Aria's we don't travel on Aria's, but we usually travel on Ava's because that one lands in February.
Yeah, but we do travel for Aria's, baby. Because remember, this is the part, the tradition where the woman is the one that keeps the calendar. Aria's first birthday, I always do a first birthday. So she just turned 2, and we just traveled for the first time with her, which is why probably you think that we don't
Gotcha. Every 4th of July, probably since before we even had kids, we always go to a specific hotel because they have a water park at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And we almost know with absolute certainty that this 4th of July is coming around the corner. And we actually just did it this past weekend. It was 4th of July. And we stayed at that hotel. And it's great. The great thing about traditions is that you kind of get excited about it. You know what to plan for, right? You know that 4th of July is coming to get the red, white, and blue bathing suits ready for the kids. I also know to get the red, white, and blue bathing suit ready. And then as the kids get older, it's something they're going to be looking forward to. So, yeah, that's another one that we rent at the same hotel with the water park every single year.
Yeah, and traditions help you plan effectively because, for example, for that 4th of July, I rent that hotel for us probably in February. So it's like months ahead. So you could get great deals. You get better rooms, better opportunities, to be more comfortable. So I think traditions really organizes the person who's like planning it.
Yeah, you could plan out the entire year.
Actually, you're missing a really big tradition. Who cooks up the best, juiciest pernil of all time?
This guy.
Every Thanksgiving.
Is it Thanksgiving? Yeah, it's Thanksgiving.
You do it both,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving
And
and
Noche Buena,
Noche Buena.
Yeah, I do throw it down. Some say it's the best they've ever had. I didn't say it. It's just
People say it.
We used to host like a Friendsgiving, and I would have the friends over, and I made it, and they would be like, "Yo, this is grade A. I've done it for the family." Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a good tradition. I like doing that one.
So sometimes we do turkey, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
We always do pernil.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've had years without
Turkey.
turkey, but we've had pernil every single year.
Yeah.
That's very true.
That's a great tradition.
That's a great tradition.
yummy
It's
one.
a lot of work because it takes about 12 hours. The way I do it takes about 12 hours. A lot of marinating, a lot of slow cooking. But you know what? You can't rush greatness.
Yeah.
You can't rush greatness.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good list of things that make our life easier, keeps us, it keeps the peace, and it helps things, move this train along smoothly.
And keeps us sane
Exactly.
in a household with 2 toddlers.
Which is absolutely necessary. So if you want a slightly easier going life, try to implement a couple of these things and you won't be mad at you did. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time, peace. You got anything?
Yeah. Listen, folks, process and procedures.
That's not how you say it.
Whatever, how do you say it?
Systems and processes. Jesus Christ. Process and procedures. Okay.
Write that one down.
Yeah. Process and procedure. Ay, ay, ay. Okay.
Babe.
This is the edited version.
Oh my God.
That got you, huh? Imagine we were live streaming.
You're so stupid.